Hi everyone, it's Christine here from Ever After Paper Crafts, and today I want to share with you another brand new stamp set that is being released from Craft and Desert Divas for the month of July. And this is the stamp set. It's called Summer Vibin', and it is oh so cute. You've got little critters and a mermaid and a unicorn and all in little floaties. So it is just too sweet if you ask me. And there's lots of really fun sentiments that go with it as well. Also, the new dies that are being released coordinate beautifully with this set. And at the end of this video, I have one more card sample to share that kind of shows how you can use the new wave dies to create a fun summer scene. So this is the card that I'm going to do for you today on camera. It's a fun little flamingo with a matching flamingo floaty, which I just found to be absolutely adorable. And I kept this card very simple. I didn't create a scene or anything. I just wanted to kind of work with some really beautiful Distress Oxide inks, create a fun background, and keep the card simple that way. So that's what I did. All of the new releases from this week are now available over at Craft and Desert Divas, so I definitely encourage you to check them out. These stamp sets are amazing, especially the Mermaid Lagoon. That if I had to pick a favorite, that would be it. And that was in my most recent video before this one, if you want to check that out. So let's go ahead and get started making this card together. The first thing that I did was I used a rectangle from the Fancy Frames dies from Craft and Desert Divas, and I just cut out a rectangle shape which has some fun stitching around the outside of it, and I used Bristol Smooth cardstock to cut this out. So the first thing that I want to do is go ahead and create our Distress Oxide background. So to do that, I'm going to bring over some scratch paper, and I'm also going to bring over my blending tools. And I used 3 Distress Oxide inks for this background. I used Worn Lipstick, Spiced Marmalade, and Fossilized Amber. And the first thing that I did was I inked my Worn Lipstick in kind of the bottom right corner area of the card, the rectangle rather, that we've created. So let me show you what I mean. The great thing about Oxide inks, if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll probably remember that I always say when you're doing your ink blending, start outside of the card on your scratch paper and work your way in kind of a circular motion fashion to get that ink on your cardstock. Well, watch this. This is what is so cool about Distress Oxide inks. You can go straight to the paper. Looks like a big old globby mess, right? Take a second, blend it with your blending tool, and you have a gorgeous blended ink color there. So I rarely start off of the paper anymore. I just go right to the paper, make that blob that is a big no-no when using other inks, even regular Distress inks, and I can blend it out with this gorgeous Distress Oxide ink. Love it. The next thing that I want to do is add some Spiced Marmalade, which is a nice orange color, to this rectangle panel here. And the reason that I chose these is A, they're very summery colors, bright pinks and oranges and yellows. And also, if you kind of Google what a flamingo looks like, sometimes they have some orangish color to their feathers. So that's kind of the reasons why I chose this color combination. So now I'm just going straight to the paper and blending out this orange Spiced Marmalade color with the pink. I'm now going to grab my pink tool, my pink blending sponge rather, that I was using to work on the pink, and go back in and also use the pink. And together, using both of these different blending stumps, you'll be able to get a gorgeous blended color. What you're looking for here is a smooth transition between the pink and the orange ink. You don't want splotchy lines that distinguish where one color starts and one color stops. You kind of want it to be an effortless blending motion, or want it to look like it's an effortless transition rather from the pink to the orange. And I think we have created that here now. You can kind of just see this pink slowly fade into this beautiful orange color. And then along the top here is where we're going to put our yellower color, which is the Fossilized Amber. So let me go ahead and get that pad on the blending tool. And again, I'm just going to get it nice and inky and go straight to the top here. And I'm kind of using the side of my hand to hold the paper down, or you could use scratch paper. And let me show you what I mean. Your fingerprints will react to the Distress ink rather will react to your fingerprints on this Bristol Smooth cardstock. So you don't want to hold the paper as you're blending with your fingers if you already have ink down. So I tend to use a scratch piece of paper or the scratch paper that I'm doing my blending on, as you can see, which is what I'm doing right now. And or you can just use a extra piece of cardstock that you have laying around. But I find that that's really helpful for making sure that those fingerprints do not get on your project. And there you have it, guys. That is a beautiful yellow, orange, and pinkish background color. Let me just blend this out just a little bit, this yellow, and we're done. So I just think that that is absolutely beautiful. Just looks very effortless, and it really is actually effortless to do it. I'm not working hard at all with my hand as I'm just going around and blending in a circular motion with those little sponges at the bottom of my ink blending tool. And that's really all it takes, guys, to make these oxides work. They're a truly remarkable, like nothing I've seen before type of ink. They have pigmented properties to them too, so you can lay them on top of each other without them getting kind of that muddy brownish look that you sometimes get when blending inks. So it's really quite lovely. So enough about that. Let's go ahead and do the fun part now, which is I'm going to take my Distress sprayer of water, and I love how both regular Distress inks and the oxide inks react to water. So it just makes for an awesome background. So I'm just going to spritz this background with some water. And I also like, the reason why I like this bottle is because unlike, you can get spray bottles at the dollar spot at Target, or where the travel stuff is at Target or Walmart or anything like that. But this special Distress sprayer is only a couple dollars more than a regular spray bottle would be. And it lets you, if you pull it 3/4 of the way instead of the whole way as you're spritzing, it comes out in droplets, which hopefully you can see here. You have actual droplets of water as opposed to a spray. And that looks really good when you're using these Distress Oxide inks. It just creates a really fun effect. So look how bright. It almost leaves kind of like a whitish hue where the spray and the droplets land. So I really love the way that this creates such a pretty background. So that's it for our background, guys. All I did then is I took a piece of bright yellow cardstock. This happens to be from Simon Says Stamp, and we're going to be laying this panel that we created with the oxide inks on top of this for our card. And now all that's left to do really is to color our little flamingo. And I did that with my Zig markers. I stamped the flamingo already from the set onto some Canson XL watercolor paper, and I used Hero Arts black dye ink for that. That is a waterproof ink. You want to make sure when you're using your Zigs that you do use ink that is suitable for watercoloring. I have my Zig water brush that I'm going to use with my markers, and I have a piece of paper towel nearby so I can clean my water brush off in between coloring with the Zigs. When you go from one color to the next, you want to make sure that you scribble off the tip of your water brush so that it is ready to go and doesn't have any remaining color left on it. So to color the flamingo, I used an aptly named marker color called Pink Flamingo. So it's actually a beautiful color, and it's perfect for a flamingo pink that I was looking for. So I'm just going to scribble down some of the ink here from the marker, and let me zoom in just a little bit so you can see my coloring a little bit better here. Zoom in, oops, as I tilt the camera. There we go, and then I'll push this back up. Okay. So I have just scribbled down some Pink Flamingo color from the marker. Now I'm taking my water brush and I'm using it to pull the color into all of the white spaces that I left behind. And this is how we get that really beautiful shaded look. So there you have it. You can see we have kind of a little bit of darker color up at the cheek, and then a few of the other places that I highlighted with the marker. I'm going to go ahead now and just quickly finish coloring up the little flamingo. So I'm going to put some color where I'm putting the marker color down very lightly where I think there's going to be darkest on his body. So where, the shadow is going to be. And then we take our water brush just as before and use it to pull the color into the empty white spaces. So we get some really nice shading on our image. Here's his little tail. And then we have one more wing to do. So it'll probably be darker here, closest to his little floaty inner tube, which isn't that adorable. And now we'll just pull the color up into the rest of his wing. And there you have it, the flamingo, except for his little feet. I forgot the little feet the first time I did this card too. I had to go back and do it. Don't know why I keep forgetting his little feet. There we go. So now we'll pull the color into the white space where the feet that we left behind on the feet. And there you have it. There's our really cute flamingo, quickly colored. Now let's do his little beak. I used orange and yellow for his beak. And I will also list all of these zig colors that I used on my blog, and I'll have a link to my blog in the description box of this video. I like mixing orange and yellow because what you're left with is really kind of a neat color that's somewhere between the two. And it's very bright and summery. I love how that looks. And so there you have the little beak. Now for the inner tube, actually, let me go ahead and color his tummy too. I think I just did his tummy. Yeah, I just did his tummy the same flamingo pink. Let me go ahead and color that in real quick. And then for the inner tube, I wanted to distinguish it from the actual flamingo. So I didn't use the same flamingo pink. I used a combination of peach pink and orange. And I put some orange in there because, again, sometimes if you Google flamingos, sometimes they have a little bit of a tint of orange to their feathers, and it's quite beautiful. So I'm going to put down a little bit of orange first, since it is my darker color. And I'm just putting that orange where I feel there's going to be some shadow, or where it's going to be darkest. Then I'm going to take the peach pink and kind of color just a little bit in front of that orange and a little bit over top of it, so I can then use my water brush to blend these colors out together. And they really create a fun color that's sort of in between. It mixes that orange and the pink together and creates a unique third color, which I just love to do with my zig markers. These are, of course, meant to be used with water and are watercolor markers. And so you can think of them just as if you had your paints out and you were watercoloring with actual paints. And, you know, you can mix colors together on a palette when you're doing painting. Think of this the same way. Think of these markers that same way, because it really will make your color options limitless when you find that you can use the markers that you have to create new colors that didn't already exist. For the beak of the little inner tube, I'm going to also use orange and yellow to create that fun, bright, summery beak. And I went out of the lines just a little bit there. I pulled it too fast and not paying attention. So to fix that, all you do is clean your water brush off, and by that I simply mean you scribble on your paper towel so no more color shows up. So now you just have clean water coming out of the bristles of the water brush, and dab it with a paper towel, and that color will disappear that's out of the lines. You may have to go back at it a few times to get it to fully disappear, but it will. I went out of the lines up here a little bit too. This just happens sometimes when you're going faster than you probably should, and so it happens to me sometimes on these videos when I'm trying to not make them super long, but it rarely happens when I'm taking my time and doing it a little bit slower. So I don't want you to be discouraged if you see me go out of the lines. But again, if you do go out of the lines, it's such an easy fix. It's great. So here's the little flamingo that I just colored super quick for you on video here. And you can see the shadows, so I think that that's really fun. You can definitely see highlights and shadows where it would be darker versus lighter. So then the next step to finish our card would simply be to cut this out. You can fussy cut it with your scissors, or if you have a scan and cut, you can cut it out that way as well. And then here's our finished card, guys. So let me actually first bring over the panel that we made on video today. This is our Distress Oxide Inked background, and then I would place it on this piece of cardstock here, and then simply place that on a card base, stamp my sentiment up here, attach my flamingo once I've got them cut off, and add some twine, and that gives us our finished card, which is right here. So, and the sentiment that I use is from the same stamp set. It says, "Let's float away together." Super cute, I think, and I love adding the twine as well, just to give this super simple card a little bit of something extra. And then, of course, I added sequins as well from my stash. I did promise to show you one more card that I made with this stamp set. So I'm going to bring that over now, and I will have all the supplies, the zig colors, etc. that I used for this card as well. In this new release, I've shown it before in some of my other videos, but there are some dies that have been released as well, and this is one of them. It comes in a set, and it's this gorgeous wave die, and that was what I used to create these beautiful waves that you see here on this card. And all I did was kind of bend the tops of them to give them kind of a three-dimensional look. I used Distress Oxide inks to create the colors that you see in the waves and in the sky. And I added my sentiment on some turquoise colored cardstock. It just says, "Thanks for keeping me afloat." And then I used this super fun unicorn image on a unicorn floaty. How cute is that? Kind of positioned him within the waves, so it looks like she's just floating there in the waves. And then I just added some purple twine ribbon to the top, and of course added some sequins. So those are the two cards that I have to share with you today. I hope you enjoyed this new release from Craft and Desert Divas, and I hope that you enjoyed the Distress Oxide technique in the zig coloring shared with you in this video today. Have a wonderful day, guys. Thank you so much as always for watching and stopping by, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.